What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the LinksVue podcast. First episode we're dropping for our platform. Super excited to bring it to the podcast airwaves. I'm Trent Boucher, co-host with my buddy.
I'm Eric.
And we're super excited to get this going and bringing it to the podcast platform. LinksVue is something we started a few months back and super excited to talk about the platform and kind of what we're going to be doing over the next couple months. Eric, kind of want to share a little bit about our vision, what we've been doing, and what we're going to be doing here in the next couple weeks and into the season.
Yeah, thanks, Trent. I'm excited to finally launch this with you.
Absolutely, buddy.
So LinksVue, just kind of a synopsis of what we're trying to do, is a catalog of golf courses, golf experiences, golf stories. Trent and I have been playing golf together for a long time. And something that we've noticed over the years is that, there's nothing better than a good golf story. And so that was sort of the catalyst behind all of this. We planned a ton of golf trips over the years, and there's not really a good place to go where you can see an objective ranking of courses in the area wherever you're going, but also to feel like you're understanding the total experience you're going to get when you get there. And so that's sort of the vision behind the whole project. It's definitely in its, I guess, beta stages right now. It's
Absolutely.
very young, but we're trying to get the website to kind of catch up. But in the meantime, we will be doing this sort of thing and sort of sharing our experiences along the way. And we hope you guys find some real value in it, and eventually get to the point where we can sort of hear from you guys as well, with a public rating and the ability for you all to post your thoughts and your stories, so we can check those out too.
Yep. I think our big goal is going to be hitting some of the more popular spots, here in the Midwest, to travel and play. And absolutely. I think the problem and the disconnect for a lot of players, especially amateur players, is when you go somewhere, not only finding the best place to suit your game and, your cost and your budget, but hearing from a wide variety of players, whether they're from the area, from a different area of the country, how they experience and how they played those certain courses. So a big goal of ours is going to be hitting a lot of those big spots in the Midwest. We live here in Columbus, so that's kind of our forte and kind of our bread and butter. But hitting North and South Carolina, Indiana, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and even Northeast and Southeast Ohio this summer. That's going to be our main goal, is to cover a lot of those areas. So it's going to be exciting. Do you want to talk a little about the website and kind of the vision for the rating and the system and how that's going to kind of process out for our subscribers?
Yeah, so if you check out the site right now, we have on every page, every course, we post LVR, stands for LinksVue rating. It's something we've spent a decent amount of time in. Yep. But I do want to explain it a little bit because I think it's important, just for context. So it's a factor of 5 different things averaged across. So we have playability, we have the layout, overall like architecture, the views, which we kind of as a play on of LinksVue, where we talk about the scenery, kind of the general environment, the ambiance of the course. Then we have conditions, which can be dependent on when we play. As we kind of get into those stories, you'll hear maybe some poor conditions. And then hospitality, so how we felt the staff was, and sort of those 5 things go together to shoot out a number. But I just want to comment, I guess, that the number really isn't the most important. I guess the number is a way to quickly see how we felt about the course. So if you're in a bind, or you just want to kind of hop on the site and see quickly, here's a good course that this got an 8.5, which is really good, and it doesn't cost that much, so maybe we should check it out.
Yep.
But ultimately, we understand that golf is super subjective. It's kind of to each their own, and there's some places that I love around Columbus that Trent hates, and vice versa, and we all have our own reasons, and so that's sort of where the stories come in.
Yep.
Because we want to hear why, and if you really want to dig, you can hopefully eventually find those on our site. Why certain people feel this is the best course ever. Maybe they grew up on it and they just love the those memories there. Or maybe why it wasn't their favorite. And so that's all going to be evolved eventually on the site.
Yeah. I think the public interaction is going to be a big piece for us,
sure.
Having not only like the forum and the open discussion, but the rating, for local players. And I think bringing people in that might not be from the area, being able to share experiences, their first time playing,
Sure.
certain places is going to be a great aspect of it. So we have a lot of exciting stuff coming. Obviously going to be doing some traveling this upcoming season. Next month will be our first kind of go around for the 2021 season. We're heading up to Michigan, Detroit, and playing Arcadia and a few other tracks up there in the Michigan area, and then going to be covering Northeast Ohio as well, which we're super excited about. Have some really good stuff in the works for our Ohio segment. So kind of transitioning into kind of what we completed already, we want to talk a little bit about the Columbus golf scene for a few minutes and talk about our top 5 Columbus courses that are now live on our website, which we're excited to get back out to some of these courses, hopefully this month and next month. Weather's starting to break here a little bit.
Yeah, it's sunny.
I know, it's sunny
in early March.
In 43, so all the Midwest golfers.
That's Ohio golf weather.
I know,
right
man. We probably could have went out. We actually, funny story, had a tee time today at 12:30, which was about a half hour ago. Decided to push it to Wednesday because it's going to be in the 60s.
Yeah,
so
theoretically, that's what they're saying.
So it'll probably be like 50.
Probably 40
50,
and rain.
55, but it'll be solid. But talking about, the top 5 courses, I think we should start, kind of at the top and kind of work our way down. When you're talking about Columbus golf, especially just in the Midwest, obviously having a little bit of a shortened season, some tracks just kind of stand out. When you have 6-7 months of the year to play solid, really good golf, there's some good courses in the area, but there's some that kind of separate a little bit. The first one is Virtues. I think we got to talk about Virtues a little bit.
Yeah, so that's actually, I might be mistaken, but that's actually like the lone top 100 on like the Golf Digest rankings
in the local area. Yep.
In Ohio. That's the only one, to my knowledge, a public course. So we went out and played that sort of right a month into the pandemic, I think, was our first time.
Early on.
It used to be called Longaberger, which is like a basket company.
Yeah, they're out there in Newark.
I think they're not around anymore.
Well, if you drive out there on 161, they got the big
make sure
big basket.
You drive past the big basket off the side of the freeway, I guess. That's Trent's first recommendation. No, it's just a great course. It's Arthur Hills.
Yep.
Used to be a private course called Longaberger Country Club or Longaberger Golf Club, one of the two. But the first thing you'll notice is it's extremely hilly. There's it's
a tough walk.
It's an impossible walk.
Yeah,
I would say.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No. But with the hills, there's some cool elevation changes. There's a lot of awkward lies out there. Even if you're in the fairway, you're going to be above or below the ball on almost every swing out there.
Yeah.
And it just makes for some interesting scenery as well. I think. I don't think you've played very well there. Couple times we went. I played pretty well.
The conditions are definitely some of the best around the area. I think green wise, from a putting standpoint, it's probably the most difficult public course in the area.
Yep.
I mean, you talk about some private courses, New Albany Country Club, the golf club locally, those are, up to par. But public standpoint, those are the toughest greens we play by far.
Yeah.
And I think what's tough about those is the scoreable holes, your par 5s, your shorter par 4s are extremely difficult. I never score well on the par 5s out there, ever. And I think that's kind of what separates it. Some of those are beasts, and
they're like true par 5s. In Columbus, and we'll kind of talk about this, or if you check it out on the site, there is some courses where they give you some gimmies on some par 5s, but these are true par 5s out there.
I mean, elevation, the greens are well protected. I mean, a lot of greenside bunkers, and that's typically where I get in trouble is I'll try to step on one a couple times out there, and I put myself in some bad layup spots. Yeah. Even the par 3s, I mean, I feel like most of the par 3 greens are elevated, not very forgiving. I mean, if you don't hit a good number, you're going to be OB, and typically I find those spots out there. So
yeah, super cool finishing hole too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good finishing hole. It kind of comes back right up to the clubhouse, but it's super elevated. That green is, and sits you can see it from the tee, but it's a far way off, and really like the 18th hole. It's hard. It's hard. You're gonna have I think I had 215 into elevated green. I couldn't even reach it.
Yeah. The first hole out there too is the finishing and the beginning starter holes are kind of a good indication of what you're going to get.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
dog leg right, straight up the hill,
Yeah.
tree line on the left. There's a massive oak tree in the middle of the left center of the first fairway,
Yep.
which I'm always behind. And then, even if you hit a good drive, you got 185, into the green. So it's a great track. I mean, hospitality wise, great staff. Even through COVID, they were extremely, extremely solid and getting us out there. Like you said, it was back in May, I think, kind of right after courses reopened, and they did a fantastic job. So Columbus area virtues is a must, in my opinion. Going to keep talking about the east side of Columbus as well. Talk a little bit about Denison out in Granville. Another Donald Ross, who's our guy. See Eric's pull
Is he
over.
our guy? Or?
He's our guy. We're big Pinehurst guys, which we'll talk about it at some point. But Ross, has gone out into Granville, which is a small, town about 40 minutes outside the city, and did the university course at Denison. I love Denison. I think it's, locally one of the better layouts for amateurs.
For sure.
It's extremely, challenging, but, you can be a 10, 12, 15 and get around out there, in my opinion. The greens are Ross. You're going to have some false fronts. You're going to be able struggle to hold a couple of them, especially, with longer approach shots, not controlling your spin. But, it's an extremely, extremely nice golf course. And the front nine out there is one of my favorites in the area, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess a little bit more in depth on Denison. The first, I think, 3 holes are not original Ross holes, and the 18th is not the original Ross 18th.
Yep.
And you can kind of tell. I mean, if somebody wouldn't have told me that, I probably wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
But you can, looking back now, you can feel it. You can get a sense for that. They're definitely like the more boring holes on the course. But then once you get out of that space, it says interesting of a golf course from an architecture standpoint, as you'll find in the greater Columbus area for sure.
I think the atmosphere is really great. You feel the history, and I think he did it in late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
And you feel it when you're there. It's not like they've done a ton of renovations to the clubhouse. It's very, very quaint. And, Granville in general, very kind of New England style town, and you feel the history, when you're there. And then you get on those greens and that Ross had walked across those a few times.
Yeah, it's not long. It's
no.
kind of like a couple of the, like we played number 1 a couple of months ago. It's kind of like that where you're like, like you see the yardage. It's like barely 6,000 yards, and you're like, this is going to be a piece of cake. And then you get on the green once and 3-putt, and you're like, oh, never mind. That's sort of the Ross, I guess, way.
Yeah, and it's funny to see how he does. I mean, like I said, we'll talk about North Carolina and some of the other places we played, but it's just a totally different layout, totally different style of golf, and he still has his way of making it challenging, especially 100 yards and in. I think that's where Denison catches up to you is hit a good shot, have a good shot at a green, but he makes you pay. So
for sure.
Great track. Keep moving down the list. Number 3, Scarlet. Ohio State guys.
Yeah.
Hometown course.
So full disclosure, I actually haven't played Scarlet
I'm
yet,
the only
which
one.
is just like kind of annoying because I am now 8 years into my Ohio State education.
Give them a lot of money.
And you're
I've been
you
removed.
did a full 4, but I don't know how you didn't even play when we were in.
We didn't play when we were in school.
No,
and we lived together all those years.
So you had like a business trip or
I went for a work related function. But Scarlet's a great track, and obviously Nicholas being a local guy, and when you hear Nicholas, you think of Muirfield and you think of what he's done for the Memorial. But going over to Scarlet and redoing the course back in the early 2000s, it's an amazing track. And, if you're an Ohio State guy, if you're a Columbus person, it's a must. And, kind of understanding the history of the golf team and Ohio State's influence there, and obviously Nicholas coming over and doing the redesign, it's a great track. But I think it's difficult. Not super long, but ability to shape shots and being able to play, certain types of shots from the fairway is extremely important out there. I naturally play the ball, a little bit left to right, and I struggled out there a little bit. Got to be able to hit some draws and play some dog legs, but the conditions out there are fantastic. And I think, for the price locally, it's extremely competitive. Greens, fantastic rough. Tee boxes were pristine. I was really impressed, especially playing it towards the end of the year. I think I played it mid to late September. And I was really, really impressed with the conditions for how much, play it probably received, during the summer. But Scarlet's a must, and I really enjoyed it. We'll have to get you out there, and we'll have to
All right, dude, fine. I'll play.
Maybe we'll have to do
Don't
30.
twist my
We'll have to
arm.
do 36.
Well, no, seriously, the one thing that you left out is it's an Alistair McKenzie
The
original
design,
So Jack came in and redid it all.
in 06. Yeah, I think it's 05 or 06. Yeah.
Yeah, but anytime you can bring up Alistair McKenzie's name,
Yeah, that
you
was
do.
he's probably rolling over. I feel extremely guilty about that. But
No, you're
yeah,
good.
Jack's my guy though. I mean, we're big
Yeah,
Buckeyes, and obviously think of Muirfield, but locally a lot tougher to get on Muirfield. So if you get out to Scarlet, it's a must. I'm gonna let you talk about North Star. North Star's number 4. This is where we have a little bit of maybe a debate. I don't know if it should be this high locally, but North Star's a track up kind of where we grew up in Sunbury, semi-private. Got a 7.4 LVR. So I'll let you kind of go into that a little bit, and I'll give my 2 cents once you have your chance.
well, so I'm kind of interested to hear now. I didn't, I guess, know that you felt that strongly in the other direction, but I love North Star. I think I grew up in northern Columbus, so it was close. I think it's like 15 minutes from where I grew up.
Yep.
It is relatively new, and it's a semi-private course, so they take really good care of it. They're very serious about the golf course there. But you don't feel like you're a guest when you go, I guess. And so that's something that struck me right away. You don't feel like you're at somebody else's club. You feel like you are at a public golf course with private conditions. So I don't know if you'll find a more well-manicured public access option in that area, to be completely honest. They take good care of it.
It's in good condition, and it's a good layout. I think the front nine's extremely simple. I don't think it's very difficult. I mean, you think about 2, little dogleg right. The third's the first par 5, which is straight away a little bit to the left. The back 9 out there is fantastic. The front 9's what kind of holds me back a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think, and I get pricing being a semi-private. I just think it's a little bit overpriced, especially for the pace of play and some of those things you bring in when you add the public element, which is fine. We're amateurs. I don't mind playing a 4.5 hour round, but I just think for the price and kind of the value of it, it's where it gets me a little bit.
It is approaching overpriced. It's one of the, I guess, what's it, like $72 for
it was getting up there
prime time 18
this summer,
which is a little ridiculous. I'll give that to you, but I like the way it is residential. There's a lot of highly residential courses in Columbus. It is residential. There are houses on it, but you don't really feel them. Like you don't, especially on the front 9, you go out into
1, 9, and 10. I mean, you have some in play, but nothing crazy.
And it's really not. I mean, they're in play for us who slice the ball 100 yards, but like most people probably
keep it.
Probably not. Yeah. But then it kind of takes you out away from the houses on both the front and the back, now that I'm thinking of it. And then it kind of brings you back in at the end. So you feel like you're kind of going out into the country a little bit, which I really like. Specifically, 6 and 7 are really out in the fields, and you feel like you're kind of in the open air there. And you kind of feel it's got a little bit of a Virtues, like country kind of course in the hills kind of thing.
Yep.
Obviously, I guess not that pristine or whatever, but it's a good course. It's a really good course, and I would recommend it to people in the area at a higher price,
top end price, public price. Yeah, I think, like I said, the back 9 I love. 12 to 16 are just a great stretch of holes. A little bit shorter, challenging, hitting some different types of shots. But yeah, I mean, I think there's some better options in the area, but I'm obviously a fan. We play out there, quite a bit. So it also beats me up. So maybe that's why it beats me up a little bit. So it's all good. All right, wrapping out top 5 for Columbus Champions. Another one I don't think you've played.
I have not played it. No.
So I'm a big Champions guy, especially talking about the city courses. City courses, and Champions is a lot of history in Columbus. Used to be private. They've redone a lot of it, with the clubhouse. City bought it, put a lot of money into it. It's actually over in the Westerville area where I live now, so it's about an 8-minute drive for me. I actually didn't get out there until this past summer and really enjoyed it. Really good condition for being a public course, being a city course. Greens were fantastic, mowed, rough, everything was great. Great pace of play. The staff, everything was just fantastic. It's short. It's extremely short. Not a lot of driver holes. Playing a lot of 3-wood, a lot of irons off the tee. But I think that's fun. I think that's a different kind of look than what you get
I
locally.
heard it's tight.
It is tight.
A lot of trees.
A lot of tree line,
Yeah.
some bunkers, large bunkers on the fairways. And I think that's what's so fun about it is, not having to hit driver. You can hit a lot of different types of shots out there. The par threes are great. 10 is a par three downhill. You actually are kind of up by the tennis courts, which are, right next to the new clubhouse, hitting down about what looks about 250 yards, and it's about 165. So you hit a good 7-8 iron down there. It's a really cool hole. The par threes are great. And the front nine is a lot of fun. So being a city course, being public, gets a lot of play. It's always busy out there. But from my standpoint, I had a great time. I'm excited to take you out there this year. We'll have to go out there.
Yeah,
early in the season.
just a kind of quick comment on City of Columbus golf courses. So
Yep.
the besides Champions, the ones we've touched on are kind of just in the greater Columbus area. There are a few that are like owned by the City of Columbus.
Yep.
And we did another write-up on Raymond Memorial, and
Yep.
that's on the site as well. Probably not the most high-quality golf course, but just to kind of give Raymond Memorial, another City of Columbus golf course, a shout-out. It's like $20
Yep.
most days. And so it makes the game a lot more accessible for people actually in the city.
Yep.
You can kind of just throw your bag in your car and go over there and throw a $20 bill on the table and get 18 holes in. Again, it's not going to be anything that like wows you, but you can definitely make some good shots and makes you think a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, all the city courses, in my opinion, cost effective and staff and pace of play are always been fantastic for me. You see a lot of these other popular courses when you talk about like a North Star or a Glen Ross.
Yeah.
But you talk about Champions, Raymond, any of the City of Columbus courses, I've never gone out there and felt like I've been out there for a day, and I'm trekking across the Sahara. I feel like it's always great pace. Champions also has a great new grill they put in, so if you want a sandwich at the turn, side note, not golf related, but they got great food in there, and the staff's fantastic, so go in there and grab something at the turn or after the round. But yeah, I agree with you. A lot of good value in the City of Columbus courses. So
Good stuff.
good little wrap up there, man. Good little top five. So local listeners, if you have any questions about that, contact us on the website, linksvue.com. Obviously, have our contact info on there as well. But I'm excited, man. We got a lot of work to do, but it's gonna be it's gonna be a fun year.
Yeah, a lot worse things we could be doing than talking a little golf. It's kind of what we want to do. So let's
do it.
Let's do it, man.
It's gonna be fun. Awesome. So kind of looking forward. We're gonna be posting some more reviews on the site next couple weeks. We're gonna head up to Michigan, like I said, next month. So be on the lookout for that. But follow us on Instagram, Facebook as well. Looking forward to getting this rolling.
Yeah, likewise, man.
Awesome, man.